boys. Welcome back. My name is Hector Nilo. You're tuning into The Bottom Line, and I'm joined by Ian, Raz, and we got Joe behind the camera. Beautiful. Welcome to The Bottom Line again, where we talk about... I'm just going to stop right there.
What do we talk about in the show, Hector?
Sometimes I just slip up, so let me have a sip of kombucha to clear my throat. That shit's vinegary. Hella fermented.
3 weeks old.
Vinegary. What the fuck? The hell is vinegary?
It's when it's vinegar. Lots of vinegar in there, you know? Anyways, welcome back to The Bottom Line, where we talk about fashion, business, finance, life in general. And what else we got coming here today, Raz?
I don't know. We got some shout outs to do.
Yeah. Shouts out to our boys, Daniel Rucker and Ranz Rampilo. Happy birthdays to y'all.
Happy birthday, Justin.
Cheers, cheers, cheers.
Huh? Oh, Dan as well. He said Ranz, so
Said
you know,
Ranz and Dan kind of
yeah.
like mesh. So
yeah. Justin's his real name, but
It's actually Ranz.
it is actually Ranz.
is it Ranz?
Yeah, it's Ranz Justin Rampilo.
Oh, you Filipinos are.
We're out here, eh?
You're out here
Fuck
with these names.
Fuckers.
Oh, your name's Raz, bro. It's like one letter off.
His name's Drip God.
Don't be calling me by my govy, bro.
Imagine your parents' name.
My gosh. Anyways, shouts out to those boys.
Who's this convict that said that? Cooking up.
Word.
What was he cooking?
A lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They got a full menu.
Full menu.
What are we talking about today, boys? I don't even know.
Yeah. What are we talking about today?
Yeah, what do
We're
we...
just gonna talk. I'm down for one
Talk
of these.
that shit.
I'm down
Or
for
what
one
do
of
we-
these.
Late.
Yeah, that will
We
be
do that.
later. So we are going to be talking about the financial fantasy draft with head coach Raz over here.
We're all gonna be GMs.
Okay.
Word.
New position. I'm down.
Yeah.
Head coach?
Well,
No,
he's
GM.
CEO.
He's
He's CEO of Low End right now. Plus, he's gonna be GM of his final.
Yeah, I'll be the GM. Of
Of
my
the
team.
Lufitas?
Yeah, I'll be the GM.
All right.
I'm down.
Yeah, we gotta pick a
I've been-
team name too.
Yeah.
Team name?
Team names too?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
That's yours?
No.
No,
We've
we
all
each
got
get
our own teams.
team.
We've
Yeah,
all
we
got
get
our own team.
dog.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm down
So,
for that.
Yeah.
You guys gotta think of a name.
Keep that
He's
in
already got
mind.
fermented boys or
Fermented fellas.
fermented fellows.
That's nasty.
Smoky grapes, 3-3. 3-3.
What are we sipping on today?
It's been a bad day, so we already finished the first bottle. What do we have? Some silky smooth.
It's called Silk and Spice, which is 2019 red blend from Portugal.
You said that real nice.
Yeah, it's
Portugal.
Silk and Spice. Yeah, it's
Smooth.
Silk and Spice. I mean, I enjoyed it.
Silk and spice is always nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, you guys are still on your silk and spice, right?
for real.
Yeah,
Got
that's
some raw kombucha. Holy
some chemicals. Rum chem.
lots of fermented drink in here.
Lots of booch.
Vinegary.
Vinegary AF. For real.
That sounds like a French word, but it's not.
It's not. We're going to be so lost this episode.
We don't have a path to follow this episode.
Straight up,
We're just
okay.
going off the top.
All right.
So, what were we talking about off topic? Are we going to talk about... I don't know.
What were we talking about? Sweetie.
No, we're not talking about that.
All right, well, we already mentioned it, so let's get into it. Let us know, Ian.
What do you mean?
Let us know.
What's going on in this culture club?
What's going on?
All I know is that Saweetie broke up with Quavo, or Quavo broke up with Saweetie. So that was the news on my Twitter feed last week. I just wanted to report it to you guys.
So whose side are you in? Are you
Any
a Quavo
bottom
stan?
line?
Are you?
Does this hurt the bottom line, guys?
Are you how does that hurt the bottom line?
Yeah, for Hermes and Birkin, and
Oh shit, yeah.
Oh,
word.
talk more about this.
I mean, if Quavo's not buying Birkin bags anymore,
Who
how?
is?
Yeah, who is?
Definitely not Sweetie. No, she probably is.
She could
You
afford
think she got a bag
herself,
like
bro.
that?
I think
Who
she could
knows?
afford a
probably,
Birkin
She could
for
probably
herself.
afford it.
Was
But
this the same
Quavo's
girl we
not.
talked about a long time ago with the Birkin bag episode?
Yeah.
The one I didn't know who she was?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, she came quick.
I don't know who she was either.
I think that episode was what, like 3 months ago,
Yeah.
and she's already in and out of this relationship with Quavo.
She's
Nah,
been hurt for too long.
They've been
she
together
said.
for a few. It was like 2 years, I think it
I don't
was.
even know. No, it was a while.
2
Yeah.
years.
People were posting them on Instagram for a minute.
Quavo's a 2-year relationship kind of guy.
Not anymore.
Wow.
He was, but
2 years is a good time.
Hermes is definitely not happy with that news.
Definitely not.
I'm
No.
not happy with it either. My
Word.
favorite couple just broke up. Who am I going
Straight
to post
up.
on IG? Relationship goals.
Shit, Will and Jada.
Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Ooh,
Will and Jada.
That J. Cole line got sour.
What's the line?
That Jada and that Will love.
Ooh.
But so did the Jay-Z and Beyonce bars too.
Yeah. Just goes to show you don't believe everything you see on the fucking internet.
Don't like
Not even us.
No, you can believe us.
Okay.
We're reputable.
All right. That's true. We got a doctorate over here, so
Not a doctor.
like all four of us combined into one doctorate.
Pretty much one doctor.
Okay.
Doctor of what? What do we ever?
Business.
We win this business.
Fuck. Oh, we're fucked.
I still can't get over these glasses though. Really nice.
Yes. Shouts out to Trish at the Boho Buddhist.
Yes, definitely.
for real.
That's 3 shout outs today.
3 shoutouts. All right, so we've hit our quota.
Yeah.
You want to do some Twitter shoutouts too?
Shouts out to fuck,
XX
User.
user.
Baby Throw 4.
What?
That's nobody. That's nobody, I swear.
Baby throw. Yeah.
We can't even continue off that. We can't even segue off baby throat.
Okay, yeah. Can we just cut that right there? I'm good on that.
What else are we talking about? We're talking about Kanye being what the richest guy in the richest.
Yo, I got the button up on, so I'm feeling really nice. I'm feeling really nice.
He's looking good. It's a
Yeah.
good fit.
Thinned out. The kombucha's burning up all these fatty acids that were
That vinegary
lingering.
is just burning him up.
You relax, man. What's going on?
What the fuck is baby?
First one that came to his head.
For real.
Twitter avatar. The avatar
All right.
is just a little baby
From
throat.
user 3 3
Baby throat.
This is the most interesting pod we've ever had. It's only been that long. All right, well,
Welcome back to the
welcome back to the bottom line, where we talk about the topics of business, finance, and all that.
Much better than your first try. Baby throat.
All right, where were we?
So, we talking about Kanye?
Yeah, let's talk about Kanye.
So, you were saying, so I read that he was worth $6.6 billion now.
Yeah.
And,
basically Forbes came out a few days after and then said those numbers aren't true. They feel like $6.6 billion is inflated. Because they came out, that's the thing, it was back in last spring basically. Forbes announced that Kanye West was officially a billionaire, based on his stake in Yeezy, his other business ventures and stuff like that. But then I don't know where the numbers came, where the news came out of, but someone reported that he was worth $6.6 billion, and then Forbes was like, nah, that's not
That's cap.
accurate. But the funny thing is that people say that Forbes, like their numbers aren't accurate on people's wealth either. So it's like, I don't think we're gonna have a super accurate number for anybody's net worth. It's like almost impossible. Not impossible.
you
But
can do estimates, but
you could do estimates.
But at the end of the day, these guys aren't valued at how much cash they have in their bank account. You know,
Yeah.
they don't look at their checking account and they're like,
That's
"You got
how much
$6.6
I'm worth.
billion in his
Yeah.
checking account." You know, it's like, okay, so he owns this much amount of Yeezy. Yeezy's going to be worth this much amount over the next couple of years. Blah blah blah. But what was staggering to me was Kanye's 6.6 and Jay-Z's what 1.5.
Mm-hmm. 1.4.
Jay-Z's
1.4, 1.5, whatever.
Jay-Z's Hove. How is he getting 4 times by Kanye? True or not? True or not? But like, if it's a legit number, even if it's $1 billion, $2 billion off, maybe he's worth $4 billion.
Mm-hmm.
He's worth 2 times Jay-Z at this point, 2-3 times Jay-Z. It just doesn't make sense to me, you know.
Me as well.
But you guys are in the fashion business. You guys have, I'm looking up here. You guys have got a bunch of Yeezys.
Mm-hmm.
You guys don't have any Jay-Z shoes. Like
That is
true.
it does make sense. Like these new Yeezys he's dropped.
Mm-hmm.
You're not gonna catch me in them. I don't think they look great. They look super comfortable, but he's probably gonna have a huge amount of sales on those things. Like
Yeah, he does.
100%.
so,
Every pair tends to just sell out.
Yeah.
Like on drops. So
on a $400 shoe, I don't know how much Yeezys cost to make, but I don't think they cost more than $100 to make.
Mm-hmm.
You're making 4x at least in your money.
Mm-hmm.
These shoes probably cost $15, $20 realistically to make, so you're making 20% on your money. That's a pretty good return on investment, you know.
Yeah, and he gets last time I read it, I think he receives it's like 12-13% royalties for every for like any, might have been Yeezy apparel or just Yeezy sneakers, but so yeah, like we do definitely sell a lot of Yeezy sneakers. Those are some of the more popular shoes out there in general. So from the, I guess the different side of the fence, you could definitely understand why his net worth has ballooned over the last few years. I think honestly his brand has only gotten bigger since he kind of started with Adidas.
Yep.
And then on top of that, everything else he's done with it, with like just himself in his career, like music, fashion, this, that. I could see why he's worth that much.
So, do you think Yeezy jumped over Jumpman?
No.
It's going to take a lot more time for that debate to be settled. I don't think so yet.
No.
But there's a possibility.
No, like I'm looking at the shoe rack right behind me. There's probably the first row is all Yeezys.
Mm-hmm.
Second row all Jordans. Third row about half and half Jordans, half other Nike apparel. But like you're going, like just like you said, you're going against a huge catalog, you know. Like there's how many types of Yeezys now? 5?
Different silhouettes. I don't know off the top of my head, to be honest.
380s, 350s, 500s, 700s, the boots, the basketball shoes. So that'd be like 6 about.
6. And Jordan's got, what are they out now? Like 31?
Yeah.
32?
Like 32, around 33.
Yeah.
Even.
So plus all the money he makes off anything under 11 is just a straight money maker every year. Like you're gonna sell a bunch of those. So it's just a huge catalog. It's just like going against any big behemoth. You know, it's like going against Disney or going against Netflix.
Yeah.
It's gonna take a tough wall, but I think those partnerships he made with the Gap and stuff like that are really gonna help. And if Kanye is worth more than Michael Jordan right now, like that would be crazy.
I mean, like,
how much is Michael Jordan worth?
I don't know, but I mean, Kanye West is he's a cool guy, and people want to, like, as controversial as he could be, people want to be like him, talk like him, dress like him. So
1.6 billion.
Michael's worth 1.6.
1.6 billion.
Yeah. So, but what Jay-Z's worth, you know, like around there. So, if Kanye is even half of what is estimated, he'd be double, triple that. He'd be Michael Jordan and Jay-Z combined.
Yeah.
It was saying for Kanye in 2021, 1.8 billion. So
Wow.
still more than
Yeah.
Yeah. So hey,
That is
good
really
for Kanye.
interesting. Yeah. Straight
Well,
up.
maybe Kanye is not the real winner in this. I think Kim is going to be the real winner in this because she might get half that bag, whatever the number comes
like
out.
the Kardashian clan been winning, to be honest.
They've
been
been
on,
getting
like,
the dubs.
They know how to do this. They know how to play the game, man.
100%. They got it mastered. Why do you?
They got a doctor. They got a doctor.
They got a doctorate in
Why do you
hustling.
think she's gonna win though? Well, what's the big winnings? Like, what's up for stake for her? Do you think, or them, or that?
Half of Kanye's worth. That's a pretty good.
I'll take that.
Yeah, that's
You don't think there's prenuptial agreement?
Ooh.
nah, not on that.
Really?
I think they both have their like ways of bringing in income. Like if she was just a girl that's at her home and just raised the kids, probably a prenup is gonna get made.
I don't know. Like, I think in their situation where they're both making so much money, like, I think they would both agree to a prenup. But I don't know.
Yeah,
That's just my perspective.
yeah,
Who knows?
yeah, maybe they do, but
Mm-hmm.
I think not. She's not like on Jeff Bezos' wife's category, but like it's gonna be the number 2 divorce of the century.
100%.
Yeah.
You good over there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got that.
At least we'll get maybe the old Kanye back.
Oh man,
Which
if he
one
drops,
though?
if he drops like a,
Which one? This guy says.
There's a bunch of them.
I'm hoping for like a college dropout kind of vibe, not
Yeah.
like a
Not the.
not a Yeezus kind of vibe.
I'm
That
down.
could be
I'd be
808s
down for that.
Kanye.
I'd be fine with an
That's one
808
of my
Kanye.
favorites.
Yeah.
808s
That's a
Kanye.
sleeper.
808s and heartbreaks
Yeah. Was
So-
Kid Cudi on there? That
hits
one track is nice.
every time. The darkness.
The darkness.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll see what happens. To be honest.
We will.
I mean, like we said, both of them are capable of making their own money,
Mhm.
more than capable. So
She's Kim capable. Please cut that.
That was
Please
dumb
cut that.
corny.
Please cut that.
I'm corny, but I was dumb corny.
This after this long day, what do we got here? Some Limestone Coast, Clare Valley, Wakefield, classic.
The Shiraz is back.
We
ladies
drink
and
this
gentlemen.
all the time, and it hits. We drink it for a reason.
yeah, shouts out to Shiraz.
It makes
Shouts
you-
out to Trauma for those.
Trauma.
What happened to you,
Let them know, man. Vent,
I was
bro.
getting this nice bottle of Wakefield, and then I left the LCBO and I hit a car in the parking lot.
Oh.
But this car in the parking lot, didn't have a driver's license that was not suspended. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm just going to go 50-50 on this. I'll pay for my part. He'll pay for his part. Maybe he'll get a driver's license, pay for his traffic tickets, do whatever he needs to do. But, buddy, on camera.
At least you got your vino.
Yeah, I got my
Check it
Vino.
out. And you're here.
Shouldn't have been parking that no parking spot.
Hey, man. It's okay.
The Audi will be fine. Your Mazda? Probably not.
Shouts out to Audi.
You guys been watching March Madness?
No.
Not too much.
No March
Have not.
Madness.
Yeah, it's weird this year because Kentucky and Duke aren't in.
What?
Yeah,
What do you mean?
they're
What
not
happened?
in. They're not in the tournament.
Watch.
Had bad seasons.
Oh, like
Yeah.
record-wise, they're not
Record
good?
wise, not making it. Yeah,
Mm.
which is very interesting. I think it's the first time since I think 1994 since Duke hasn't been in.
Coach Cal,
Yeah,
he ain't showing up anymore? Or what's going on?
man, I think
How
it's
was
a mix.
their recruiting class going into?
Not the best, probably.
Because that's what I kind of was seeing.
I didn't see too much about the recruiting class. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of the. I know Cade Cunningham. He's like top guy. Went to Oregon, and then a lot of the other.
He's hooping there.
Oh yeah, he's playing great. And then Jalen Green and Kuminga, they went to Ignite at the G League. And you see other players starting to go overseas so they can make money.
Mhm.
You know, it's very
Jalen
interesting
Green
to
is,
see.
is hooping a little.
Oh,
I've
yeah,
seen
he's
him
playing good.
Do his thing in the
No,
in the
so
G League.
let's even talk about that because it's like Duke and Kansas and all these bigger programs were always getting all-star recruits.
Yeah, the
Mm.
Blue Bloods.
Like, at this point, you've seen Damian Lillard, you've seen Kawhi, you've seen all these bigger players that are kind of like bet on themselves and went to Steph Curry, went to like these smaller programs and kind of like blew up. With the G League involved and with internet as a whole, do you think these bigger programs, these blue programs,
Bloods, yeah.
Blue Bloods are going to get their candidates taken away? Like,
I think so. Slowly.
because remember when Devin Booker and all those guys were on the team,
Mm-hmm.
like none of them really gets to shine.
Mm.
Like it happened 2 years ago in Duke when you had Zion, you had
RJ
RJ Barrett, you had everybody, like
Cam Reddish, yeah.
Cam Reddish.
Yeah.
Like nobody really gets to shine on these teams. Like if you were in a position like that, what would you do?
Yeah, I think a lot of these young players are being so exposed to social media and all that nowadays that they're used to that spotlight being on them, where they feel free to be on a smaller school and still ball out and have the freedom to kind of have reins on the team,
Right.
just so they can show their top skill. You know what I'm saying? And it's pretty interesting that these programs are slowly disappearing that are so known for their basketball prowess.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, the main advantage of the like Duke and Kansas were all the scouts are going to go to those places, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now everybody just looks on Twitter. So it's like, if you could really hoop, and you can pay a dude $300 to make a nice video reel, what do you need to go to Duke for anymore?
Yeah.
You know, what's the advantage anymore?
I mean, yeah, I agree with what you guys are saying. I feel like the players are exploring. They have so many more options than what players had even 5 years ago in terms of what you wanted to do, I guess, after high school, right? Like, the only viable way to make it to the league was through college, and now players are seeing that you can go overseas and play and come back to the NBA, play well. Like LaMelo's having a pretty good season, and he took that route. We've seen people in the past take that route, and now we're seeing the G League expanding, getting better, actually becoming a better developmental league for
And
young
you actually
high
get paid
schoolers.
now too.
And you get paid,
which is a
yeah.
big one. Big one.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many options now for kids. And I remember during the summertime, I don't know who the recruits were, but the players that committed to HBCU.
HBCU.
Yeah,
Mikey
HBCUs.
Williams?
Mikey Williams. Yeah. What school is he going to?
I think it's Howard, but I'm not too 100%.
Yeah, so
Michigan?
stuff like that.
Howard in Michigan?
Nah, I don't know where it's located, to be honest. But it's a historically black college. So a few after everything that happened, this summer with the protests and everything like that, some recruits came out and said they'll just be looking to attend HBCUs instead of Duke or instead of
It's in
Kansas.
Washington, by the way, Howard.
So that's a big blow for them too, because if Mikey Williams is deciding to go to Howard instead of Kansas or Duke or Kentucky, then that could set a precedent for other players to do the same, or just people are gonna start seeing, hey, I don't need to go to Duke to get my shot in the NBA or something like that.
I think a lot of players go there for the development of a high-end program like Duke, Kentucky, UNC, in Kansas. But now there's so many trainers. You have access to, again, the internet and all that, where you don't need all that. You don't need to commit to a place where you don't feel comfortable at, or you're not going to be making money. They're just going to be profiting off you, and that's a big one for a lot of these kids. Just want to pay their moms, their parents,
pay their bills,
pay their
like
bills,
they got costs. Their parents got costs.
exactly.
Like, so do you think it correlates well with? Because like at the end of the day, everybody knew the NCAA was kind of like
A hoax.
a hoax, but like more just like they're just getting money off these kids. Like they're enjoying it while they can, but eventually it's gonna break up.
Yeah.
Like, do you think like LeBron wanting to get his kid into the NBA a little bit earlier is kind of like a catalyst for this kind of movement? Because it was all running fine until like LeBron James Jr. was gonna come in the NBA, and LeBron James's career was gonna end at a certain point.
Yeah.
LeBron's like I feel like LeBron's like, you know what, I'm gonna destroy this whole establishment just so I can get my kid into the NBA 1 year early.
The power of LeBron.
Yeah.
I'd be interested.
That'd be
It's gonna be interesting to see.
Yeah.
I would love to see, like, all those options that I just discussed. I would love to see more and more players think about those and actually use them, and then actually see them have successful careers in the NBA. I think that's what it kind of takes sometimes. You gotta see players take a certain route and actually do well, succeed, win a few championships or whatever, have a good career, and then more players are more inclined to go overseas or to join the G League and develop from there rather than go to college. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know. It's just like anything. I feel like in the past 18 months we've reevaluated its purpose. And I
Mhm.
think that's the same thing with college and college sports.
Yeah, like I think college sports are always going to have an avenue, you know, like if you don't think you're going to make the pros, but maybe you want to get your school paid for and you want to make sure you're finished school, like that's one of your things, like I want to get some higher education. I think that's
Mhm.
always going to be a route for people. I'm not saying
True.
NCAA is bad in any way, but they've been profiting off these guys much more than they've been giving back.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you give multiple options, there's always going to be people like, you know what, I know I'm going to play in the NBA. I don't need a college education. I'll take my couple $1 million. I've watched enough videos on YouTube to know how to like manage my finances. I'll put them in some ETFs. I'll put them in this and that, and then I'll be fine. But there's people there's no two people are going to be the same. So what works for one person is not going to work for the other. Having those options open and available is kind of the biggest thing.
Mhm.
And then you'll see what kind of goes on. Like, you're not going to be able to go to the G League and get the same kind of like amenities that you're going to get in the NCAA. Like, your stadiums are going to be as nice. You're not going to have like those big bands and all that other
That's
stuff.
true.
Like, a lot of money gets put into the NCAA, but a lot of money gets spent too. Like,
Yeah.
your experience there is going to be like you're like a king at that point. You
Yeah.
walk on the campus. You've got like your nice football room or your nice like NBA or a basketball room. Like, everything's set up. You're not going to get the same thing in the G League. G League's going to be like a off-brand version of that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So for some guys who don't need the money for their family and everything like that, maybe it'd be a better way to go to the NCAA, enjoy it, have a nice college life, you
Experience,
know,
yeah.
like enjoy being young until
Online classes.
yeah, enjoy doing that, you know, go to college parties, doing all that stuff, like go to sororities, whatever, you know, you're 18. Enjoy that while you can, and then go to the NBA and actually be a professional. But there's some people that need the cash right up front, so maybe they'll go to the G League, maybe they'll go to the Euro League, maybe they'll do whatever. But, you know, options and not being stuck to one system is...
It's always great to have options.
Exactly.
For
So,
real.
and I'm glad these guys are kind of having it. But I think it'd be a good time for us to take a break, get a couple more options in the glass.
That's the last option.
Play that outro. Welcome back, and these glasses are brought to you by Low Co, where you can get the latest in streetwear and sneakers, premium vintage, at lowandco.ca. Visit the store where we're recording at 365 Palliser Street in Windsor, Ontario. Thank you, Low Co. Is that good? Yeah?
Much
Fuck.
better, much
Nice.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Nice.
Shit, man. My heart's pounding.
Don't stress
These
out.
fermented drinks are brought to you by
Please don't ruin this again.
Superstore.
Superstore.
Sponsored by Netflix. Great show on Netflix, by the way. Superstore. So
heard.
funny, bro.
I've heard.
Like, I've probably watched it twice now. Just like put it on.
Twice?
It's just one of those shows you can put. It's just those shows you can put on in the background. You know, like when you're doing stuff.
Oh, and
you've
it-
already watched it. It's like The
Okay.
Office. It's like How I Met Your Mother.
You're watching what?
Scrubs. Yeah,
Hey.
That's a good one, too.
that was an old one. No, but I don't know. Like that show is really good on Netflix. Super funny.
What's it about?
It's pretty much like Walmart, like the stuff that goes on, like.
Shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
and it's pretty funny. Like if you want to turn it on, it's a good show. You're not gonna not laugh. Like it's
Okay.
it's a funny show.
Okay.
All right.
I put my brother onto it. He's like, "Did you put this on because I work at a grocery store?" I'm like, "No, I just put this on because it's a funny story."
Yeah, man, I do selling them.
Garrett.
I'm the guy in the wheelchair.
You're a guy named Garrett.
In a
Garrett.
wheelchair.
Yeah, he's actually the dopest guy in the show, though. He's funny as fuck.
He's got
Yeah.
arms, eh?
We actually should have gave Sean a shout out because he's actually in a
Yeah, shouts out to Sean. He's in a wheelchair.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just fractured his ankle, maybe.
He's out for this.
He's out for the season for sure. Yeah, he was skiing with his girl up in London,
In London.
and his foot got stuck in their I think they went tubing actually, and it got stuck in like a mesh in their tube and came down on it, and Yeah, it was interesting, he said. He's like, yeah, man, I can't put too much pressure on it, but I'll be good tomorrow. See you tomorrow, Sean.
See you tomorrow.
You wheeling him in?
Professor S.
Professor S.
The man will never shave his head. He's got too nice of a set of hair. He's always going to be Professor S. He's never going to be Professor X.
My God. Oh, fuck.
So speaking of being out for the season, what season are we talking about here?
Financial fantasy season.
Dun-dun-dun.
But there is no end. There is no off season in the financial fantasy.
No,
season.
Fuck
we're
no, baby.
So
You
this
like
is
the
a cappella.
Hey man, we get
We were
turned
talking
this
about
into a
me-
recording studio.
We were talking about
Right.
Migos before. You got all those
I got the ad-libs for
deadlifts,
sure.
yeah.
Money. That's the bottom. That's the bottom line one.
That's the bottom line, Adlib?
Yeah.
Just money.
Say word.
You know
When
yours.
did we agree? Which one's mine?
You know it, dog. You know
Nah.
Which
it.
one
Throwing
is
this-
it?
I'm throwing this one up to you. You gotta slam it.
Which one's mine?
You know it. Go ahead.
Nah, don't.
Fill him in. What's his?
What is it?
You know.
I
Alright.
honestly don't.
We'll revisit that
Yeah.
next week.
So you got no ad libs?
He does.
Nah, I don't know what I live.
All right. West Side. You know them.
Yeah, but this is it's
It's not for this pod.
yeah, it's not for this part.
Okay.
Is it for the other low end? On
It's
the
for
west side?
the bottom line Patreon.
Ooh, where you can get
You just get
$150
high as
course
hell.
for free. On the west
Or
side,
some course.
Get rich.
your portfolio is gonna get high as hell.
What is a portfolio though?
It's a crazy transition. It's a crazy transition. I'm sorry. You went from that to that? Like, come
We're
on.
talking about portfolios.
True,
man.
true. Yeah,
You're talking
yeah.
about getting high. We're talking about getting high
Uh-huh.
portfolios.
Same shit, yeah? Green's everywhere. So.
Green is everywhere.
All right.
Yeah.
What's a portfolio?
What's a
Raz?
portfolio? I don't know
Let
what
him
you're
know.
talking about.
Let him know, doctor.
I'm not a doctor. All right, Drip God. I'll let you know what's good. So a portfolio is like your total assets, right? Like your portfolio could be your checking account, your investment account, your real estate, all your assets, right? Like that's your portfolio. You don't necessarily have to have it all in one thing. It's like a big wallet, big whatever you want to do. Like it's all your assets put together, right? When you hear portfolio, it doesn't necessarily mean like stocks or your real estate. It could be whatever, right? Like a portfolio could be your whole mix of assets. So there's assets in every single category. You could own coins, you could own houses, you could own apartments, stocks, cars, well, whatever it is you own, that is your portfolio.
Birkins.
Birkins. What's her name? Sweetie?
Sweetie, yeah.
Sweetie?
Saweetie.
Saweetie? Quavo's got the Birkins in his portfolio. He's got those nice cars that he bought for the girl in his portfolio.
That vinegar hit, yo.
He's got vinegar in his portfolio. Like
It's deep in the portfolio right now.
mushrooms and vinegar. That's pretty much what he's invested in. Just straight psilocybin plays and natural herb remedy plays at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a
That-
herbalist.
Your long herbal?
Long herbal. G herbo.
Yeah, your long GR. Are you shorting him?
I'm
Are you shorting him
Herbal.
or are you
Who?
Are you shorting G herbal?
No, that's my dog.
That's where you go. All right.
High school.
High school in Chicago.
No, that's a track I like of his.
It's called High School.
Yeah, it's nice. I get dumb hype to it. You'll see.
Show us.
No.
How do you get done?
No. That's for.
So yeah.
So a portfolio, it's whatever assets you hold, right? So most people, like I said, talk about portfolios when they're talking about their stocks, but That doesn't necessarily mean stocks. There's enough real estate investors that talk about their portfolio saying, I own 15 buildings in the city, 300 houses, whatever. That's my portfolio.
Yeah.
As an investor, you have those options because, like we've been talking about before, everybody knows their kind of niche, right? Like, you guys know this niche of selling fashion and stuff like that, streetwear, all that stuff. Like, that's your niche. So for you, most of your portfolio is going to be, most of the money you've invested has been into the store at this point, you know. Most of your portfolio is going to be what your equity is in the store, you know. But where most investors would look at their portfolio, it's like, okay, I own some stocks in this, I own a couple ETFs, I own a couple mutual funds, I own like an apartment building. Like, that's my asset portfolio, you know. So that's essentially what a portfolio is.
Makes sense. What,
I'm sure you knew this before, though.
A little bit. I mean, I think it's always cool because, like, I did do some study some finance stuff in university, but it's always in a different. Now it's in a different perspective because you're actually, maybe, at least for me, I'm fully into it now rather than I was before.
It's not just theory anymore, you know.
Yeah,
Like,
and it's not just other people's money at the same time. Now, like, it's different when it's someone else's money and then when it's your money that you're putting into play because. You go back to what you were saying earlier of investing in stuff that you know your niches and stuff like that. So, that's been pretty cool. That's a very good way to simplify everything. Because again, I always say like, finance is one of those things that could seem super super complex to the average person, but it really doesn't have to be. And
you got to keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know what the thing is. It's called KISS, I think. The analogy, keep it simple, stupid. But
I've never heard of that.
no,
I don't think so.
No. But
well,
That
if you could
is-
simplify, if you can make something as simple as it is, you're never gonna go wrong. You know,
Yeah.
like, you don't need to overcomplicate something. Keep it simple, and you'll understand. Like, you don't. Most people get lost when you're starting to talk about financial. Like
Literacy.
vocabulary, right? Like, what's a derivative? What's a option chain? Blah blah. At the end of the day, you don't need to know any of that stuff. Like, you need to know what you know and what you're good at, where your niche is, like where you understand the market better than somebody else, and then invest in that. And then what you don't know about, kind of leave that to the professionals. Yeah, like. We've been talking about ETFs last couple episodes. We've been talking about NFTs. We've been talking about this, that, and the other thing. They're all just kind of like, not analogies, but like just phrases for something else. And I think a lot of people don't know what an ETF is, what a mutual fund is, what a cash account is. It's just basic stuff like that. You know, I think a lot of people get lost in the vocabulary of it all. And once you break it down to something simple, it just makes so much sense where it's like, why didn't I get into this before? Like, why was I so scared of getting into this thing? Because it sounded so much more complicated than it was. Like, and I think that's something we could help provide, like, simplifying stuff, you know, like when you guys have questions about that kind of stuff, like, I think we all can make it simple and understandable to all of us, you know? So it's not complicated. It's just most people make it seem so much more complicated than it is, you know? And I think over the last couple of episodes, we've been trying to remove that stigma, you know, like remove the complexity between it all. Hector is sitting here looking like doesn't know anything that's going on. But we want to get him to a point where when we talk about ETFs, when we talk about mutual funds, when we talk about just basic vocabulary, it's not what are they talking about. This becomes second nature, you know. Like,
how would you go about kind of, again, attaching your own personal life to these financial terms?
Well, when you learn a new language, the best way to learn a new language is to ingratiate yourself into it. You can get Rosetta Stone and you can get the Doobie apps and whatever. You know, you could practice all you want, but until you actually go and throw yourself in a place that you know, you do that every day,
Mm-hmm.
you're never really gonna learn. You know, like
Exactly.
I've been trying to learn Spanish off these apps for the last 2 years. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
sure I can keep a basic conversation, como está, you know, like just basic.
Great.
Just basic stuff like that, but you're never really gonna get it until I throw myself into like Spain for a year, you know, and I'm just forced to talk that way. When I talk about financials with all my friends, this isn't like if I were to talk about what the IFTA is or what the EBIT is, like my buddies aren't. Oh, what does EBIT mean? Like stuff like it's just second nature to them. It's like another language to them, right?
Yeah.
So throwing yourself and ingratiating yourself with that realm or that financial world is, and once you're able to break down those like walls of like understanding, it all becomes so much more simple for you, you know, like once you know what a PE ratio is or just basic terms that you thought were like a completely different language, like a PE ratio is like price to equity ratio, like what's the price of the stock versus like how much equity is in it, like basic stuff like that once you understand what it means, it's like it's no longer like a different language altogether, you know. It's just like
it's like picking up a new skill basically. It takes some time to
it takes some time, but it's not people have overcomplicated. Yeah, exactly. People have overcomplicated this because the more people know about this stuff, the less advisors could charge, the less your banking partner can charge, you know. Like if it's free information, it's no longer like something that you could charge a premium for, you know. So that's why financial stuff has always been out of the regular school curriculum. Like you see people all the time, why do I need to learn trigonometry when all that matters at the end of the day is how to balance a checkbook and you know, my credit score, all that other stuff, you know, just basic financial stuff. It's set up that way because, you know, if you don't know about this stuff, you got to pay somebody that does. So so they've made it so complicated, and they use their own vocabulary, and they make it seem like it's so a realm that you'll never understand, that you have to pay somebody to do this kind of stuff, you know. And it's just not the truth. Like once you figure out just a couple basic things, and you know, you learn, you know what you like, and you learn the best companies in that space, then once you learn the vocabulary, everything becomes easy. Like it's just that.
Yeah,
Scriptures.
I agree.
Scriptures.
I think that's definitely one of our goals here, is to kind of break down some of the, you know, more advanced stuff as we kind of just talked about in finance, but not only finance but in business too. Just kind of relating things back to any like stuff about Nike. We kind of try to relate it back to here, or any other small business or business stuff. Try to relate it back to our real world or other people's kind of real world, and I think that's what's pretty cool.
Yeah, we're trying to simplify that
so the people can understand. Shouts out to y'all.
And another great point, I feel like it's like what you said, is about starting, because for me, I never took the time or was too scared to start with investing until I actually did it. And then that's a great way to like, what was the word you said? Ingratiate yourself. Yeah, that was like it makes so much sense, because for me, that's what I really needed for me to actually sit down and be like, all right, let me do some research, let me keep up with some of the important stuff that goes on day to day or week to week. Like I didn't do that until I actually, you know, you put your money where your mouth is, and you kind of just do it. And then
until you have skin in the game,
go.
it's just another thing, you know.
Yeah.
Like until you're actually affected every day. When you see the stock, when you see on the news like the Dow went down 2% today. If you have no money in the Dow, what the fuck does it matter to you that the Dow went down 2% today? Who gives a shit? But when you've got $3 million invested in like companies that are affected in the Dow, and that if the Dow goes down 2%, you drop $300,000 that day, you're gonna be a little more invested than somebody that has no money into it, you know.
100%.
So it's a completely different world. I'm not saying it's anything different. It's just the people that are in this kind of world are just like you never know who's your friend, who's not your friend. You know, you don't know who to trust, who not to trust, who's telling you something that because they're actually benefiting from it. You know, at the end of the day, you have to find mentors or people you trust that are actually providing you good information, because a lot of things that are happening on YouTube is like, or TikTok or whatever, go buy this stock, it's going to shoot up. And, you know, that works. You know, those pump and dump, you know, things are becoming more and more available. But it takes that first $5,000-$10,000 loss for you to be like, okay, maybe I should stop listening to what everybody says. You know, like maybe I should start doing my own research, because like all that stuff's gonna work just fine. Like you get into sure, a lot of people get introduced to that. They make a couple $1,000 quickly. You know, like they'll buy one stock because they saw it on Instagram, and then it shoots up 20-30%. You know, or they buy a stock on TikTok, and that's pretty much how they run their portfolio. But you're always going to get in on the end of these pump and dumps. You know, like you'll get your 5-10% and you'll be happy with that. But once you get that nice 30-40% in a day loss, you're going to have to start doing some recalculations on your stuff, you know, and you'll eventually figure that out. But that's the problem. I feel a lot of people are getting introduced to investing in that pump and dump kind of scheme. Like, oh, I saw this one stock on YouTube. Everybody says this is going to be hot this year. Let me buy this now, blah, blah, blah. Well, and that's fine. If you're making money at doing that, that's great. But at the end of the day, you should be able to know what's a good company, where you should invest, who are some people you should invest with, as opposed to just seeing something on like YouTube or TikTok to say, buy OCGN at $10 because it's going to shoot up to 50 because they got a new COVID vaccine. Sure, that is good. That's good due diligence and good knowledge to know. But these videos and stuff are eventually going to end. You know, you got to be able to identify what's a good company, what's not a good company. You know, you can't just go off these hot tips and these YouTube plays and TikTok plays forever. So.
True. That's what a lot of people are doing. I see it all the time.
I see it every day.
Yeah.
Every day. In my DMs, at least, there's like 2-3 DMs. What's the next stock going to be? I saw you got into this, said this price. How did you find that? Blah, 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 blah. You've asked me this before. How do you know when the stock is good to buy, when it's good to sell? Like, people do this, and I was thinking about this all week. Like, people do this every day. Like, if you were to go buy gas, you do this subconsciously all the time. Like, you know what the price is for gas on an average point. Right now, because I drive the Audi, so it's like I have to put premium in my car. Premium's like $1.40. My brother's complaining that he's paying $1.15 for gas. You know, like so it's different standards. But you generally know the range of a price of something, especially when you use it all the time. Which is why I'm saying, like, if you know your niche, if you know what kind of category you're in, you're gonna generally know the price of what something's worth. So you'll know that, let's say you're into EV stocks, right? You're into electronic vehicle stocks. You know, Tesla trades around 600 to 750, you know. When it goes down to 600, I buy more and I sell it more at 700, right? When you know, okay, gas is $1.01. Most people don't do that. Like, there's some people that do this in the real life, but like, what if you were to buy a whole bunch of gas when it was $1.10? Because you know it wasn't going to get cheaper than that. You'd have gas for the rest of the year. You know, people don't make daily transactions like that. But like, that's how you have to think about stocks. Oh, okay, I think this stock's never going to be lower than this price, so I'm going to buy a bunch now, and I'm just going to hold it for the rest of the year. If you were to go to the gas station and you see $1 for gas, you haven't seen that since like 2000 whatever, you know, like, so you buy let's say you've got a huge warehouse of like gas that you can contain at home. Like you buy a bunch from the gas station, you bring it back, and every single time you need to refill your car, you go and refill it at your own gas station, you know, because it's not worth going to pay $1.30 at the gas station, what that price is. But it's the same thing. It's just people don't do that in an everyday lifestyle, you know, like, but if I see, let's say I'm into EV stocks, I see NIO goes down to $10, I'm going to buy NIO. I'm going to put all my money into NIO because that is a price that, you know, I never thought I'd be able to see again. I think I talked about this 2 weeks ago when all the NASDAQ was going down. But the stock that I'm really invested in, I didn't think I'd be able to ever get at that price again. So when I saw that price, I just unloaded because I didn't think I'd be able to get that price again. I bought it at 7. For the last 2 weeks, it's been trading at 11. So I literally made 50% on, almost 50% on just a pick because I knew that was out of the kind of range that it was in, right?
Yeah.
So stocks, commodities, they're all the same thing. You just have to know your industry, you know? Like gas people use every day. So it's a good analogy for that. People generally know what the price of gas is. They know they spend $30, $40, $60 a week on gas. And when they see a little bit different, they're like, okay, I paid a little bit more. But you need gas at the end of the day. And that's where the difference comes in. You know, people don't need stocks every day. And if people see stocks at a lower price, their internal language is more sell instead of buy, you know, like because they think it's going to keep going down. So, but once you're in that different mindset of I'm going to need these for the rest of my life, just like I need gas now, it becomes a lot easier, you know, because you know the range, you know the trading and stuff like that. But if you're not willing to invest all your time into this, leave that to the professionals, because there are people doing this every single day. There are people like Kathy Woods that have got her ETFs. There are people in Fidelity that have got their ETFs. There are people that literally do this every day. They know the price of Tesla should be within this range. If it's at the top of the range, they sell. If it's at the low range, they buy. Like just basic stuff like that, you know what, you've got kids to take care of. You got the store to take care of. You got this, that, and the other thing to take care of. You don't have enough time in your day to know when to buy and when to sell. So it's like I'd rather just give my money to the professionals, let them deal with that, and hopefully they make more money than what the average is, you know. So that's where generally where I would advise people to do. Invest in an ETF, invest in a mutual fund, because your day isn't, you're not spending 16 hours a day being like, okay, the interest rate might rise by 0.2% in the next 6 months. How is that going to affect these amount of stocks? Blah, 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 blah. Like, that's why don't add that more complication to the equation. Like we were talking about before, keep it simple. Like, give your money to the professionals that manage these exchange traded funds or these mutual funds, because that's where they spend 16 hours of their day. You spend 16 hours of your day working an 8-hour job, plus dealing with family stuff, plus dealing with the other stuff. These guys spend every single waking hour that they have dealing with this stuff, you know. So that's why I'm a big proponent for mutual funds, ETFs and stuff. Sure, you might be able to get bigger gains just by buying focusing on one stock, but you could also blow your whole account up by just doing one stock, you know. So.
Word. It's good advice. Trust the professionals. We got a little bit into, I mean, we've been talking about ETFs a few times on this podcast, but I actually talked about what a portfolio is, which is big. And then I feel like we can jump into other like asset groups as we kind of go throughout the weeks, talk about stocks specifically, talk about bonds. I don't know if you...
Not a big bond investor at this point.
Yeah, I guess.
Just because like at this point, bonds don't give you back what they used to.
Why is that?
Because so how bonds work is, so there's interest rate risks, right? So a government is probably not going to fall, right? So a government, when they give you interest, when they give you like debt that they want to sell, they're more than likely to be able to pay that off because they're going to be around for a while, right? A company like Apple, probably not going to go anywhere in the next time soon, right? So they have a higher credit rating. I think it's a AAA, or there's like an A rating, a AA rating, a single A, a B plus. The same way you got grades in school, companies get grades on like how they're able to pay their debt back, right? So when a company creates debt, so let's say Windsor wants to make a new park, right? They need $2 million. Okay, so they're going to sell municipal bonds to investors, right? So they'll sell it to like banks like WFCU or Royal Bank or whatever, right? They get that $2 million from companies like WFCU, and then Windsor can go and build that new park, go and build whatever they want to do. But WFCU knows it's going to get 5-6% interest rate on the money that they gave to Windsor, and then they go out and sell that debt to investors, right? So they'll give you 2.5% on your interest that you put in the money, and they keep that 3.5% difference, right? Mm-hmm. But Windsor is not going to go anywhere anytime soon, so it's going to be able to pay its debts. So you can give it a lower interest rate because you know it's going to be able to pay those debts off, right? Now, when a company like Apple wants to go and credit some debt, they'll do the same thing. But now when you get to a company that's new and whatever, doesn't have any credit rating or doesn't have anything built in place, they'll give you like a 12 or 13% interest rate on that money. But what happens if the company fails?
It's going to be gone. The money's going to be gone, right?
Your money's going to be gone, right? So that's where that rating comes in, you know? So you'll get, the more risk you're willing to take as an investor, the more interest you will make, right? So if you're willing to invest in riskier assets, stuff that, you know what, if it goes down, you're going to lose all your money. But if it goes up, you might make 50% or 50x on your money. That's where those like riskier stocks, bonds, whatever it is, every single category has got its own risk rating. So if you're going to do bonds, there's like corporate bonds, municipal bonds, country bonds, stuff like that. And those are more risks that you're willing to take. So if the government of Canada wants to give a risk or wants to sell some bonds, Canada as a country is never going to go anywhere. Yeah. Windsor has more of a risk to go somewhere than Canada does, right? So like they're going to pay you more interest than something that a company bond is. The reason I don't invest in bonds at this point is because the government is willing to give you money at like such a low interest rate, almost 0%. Why am I going to take more risk with another company that may or may not go somewhere just to give me 1%?
Okay.
Why am I going to do that? To make 1% when the inflation's 2.3%, whatever it is right now? I'd rather just buy a growth stock like Microsoft, Google, whatever, that pays me a 5% dividend, and I can actually make some money on that, you know, as opposed to losing money on inflation. Because if somebody pays me 1% and the value of my money goes down 2.5% a year, I'm losing 1.5% of my money every year because it's valued less next year, right? So why would I not give it to somebody that makes me at least 2.5% just so my money could be valued more, right? Yeah. And that's the issue with bonds right now, because why would I pay you 3% or whatever inflation is when the government's paying you 0% to hold these bonds? You know, I'll pay you 1% and you'll be happy with that. You might be losing money, but you're not going to be losing as much money as buying government bonds. And those bonds are for people that are don't want to take risks, right? Those are for like pension funds. Those are for, you know, where you can't have a variation in your money. Like 1% going up and down is a huge amount of money. If the Trillium Fund invests $100 billion and their investment goes down 1%, that's a lot of fucking money. Like 1% on $10,000, not a big deal, you know? Like, who cares? But 1% on $100 billion, that's $1 billion just gone. Just gone.
A lot of cash.
That's too much.
Yeah. So that's why they're always looking for those investments where they have as little risk as possible. They don't care that they're making 1% because they're not going to lose 1%. And when you get to, there's a saying by Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett, the risk doesn't get higher as the stock goes up. It goes lower because you've already bought it at such a low price where it doesn't matter if the stock varies in price, right? Let's say you bought a stock at 10 and it's trading between $15 and $20. Why do you give a shit if it's trading between that? You're already up 50% at least, you know? So it doesn't matter how the price fluctuates. Like, all that matters is you're not losing your principal, right? So that's why these pension funds and stuff like that are always looking for secure investments where I'd rather make 0% on my money than lose 1%, because losing 1% is much more. It's just worse than making 1%. You know, I'd rather, like, because these guys need the pension. You know, I need to have this money here. I can't lose 1%. I'd rather not make any money and make sure all the money's here than do all that. You know.
Okay.
So for the different investors, risk is completely different. For you, it may not matter to lose 5% on your money, but for some dude that has $100 billion, if he loses 5%, that's $5 billion just gone like that, you know. So he's not willing to be in these crazy risk pools, you know. Sure, he could make $5 billion if it goes up 1%, but he could also lose $5 billion if it goes down 1%.
Very
So
interesting.
Very.
Interesting. Well, that was pretty good. Talked our shit for a bit.
Yeah.
You got something to say for the?
he's a little shocked right now.
No, I'm just soaking everything in. All this vinegar
Soaking the vinegar in, eh?
and knowledge from doctor.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll take
we
pastor.
We talked our shit first few minutes, but then
All
talked
day.
about some financial stuff. So we learned what a portfolio was today, which is a good start. That's like the overall encompassing. That's where you put everything in, or where everything kind of resides.
Yeah, it's
so
like your big wallet.
yeah, it's your big wallet. That's perfect. And then we'll keep on going next few weeks. Talk about different asset classes. Then break down those asset classes between what types of bonds you have, what type of stocks we have, ETFs and stuff like that. So if you're not already following us on Instagram, make sure you follow us on there for any updates for the Bottom Line Podcast. Follow us at the Bottom Line Pod on YouTube. You can watch our videos, our podcast on there as well at the Bottom Line Podcast. If you listen to your podcast, make sure to check us out on Spotify, Anchor, and Apple Podcast. I'd like to thank you guys for being here with me on a Sunday, enjoying this wine and fermented drinks. Once again,
Shmoney.
cheers to you guys. Cheers to you guys. Thank you. Have a great week.